Early life and education. Jerome Hayden, J. Powell was born on February 4, 1953, in Washington, D.C., to a family with a strong emphasis on education and public service. His father, Jerome Powell Sr., was a lawyer in private practice, and his mother, Patricia Hayden, was a mathematician who worked part-time for the Republican National Committee. Powell grew up in Chevy Chase, Maryland, as the fifth of 6 children. He attended Georgetown Preparatory School, an elite Jesuit institution, graduating in 1972. He went on to earn a Bachelor of Arts in Politics from Princeton University in 1975, where he wrote a senior thesis titled, South Africa, Forces for Change. Powell then pursued a Juris Doctor degree from Georgetown University Law Center, graduating in 1979. While at Georgetown, he served as editor-in-chief of the Georgetown Law Journal and worked as a legislative assistant to Senator Richard Schweiker of Pennsylvania in 1975–1976. Early career, legal and investment banking. Powell began his career in law, clerking for Judge Ellsworth Van Graafaland of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in 1979. From 1981 to 1983, he worked as a lawyer at Davis Polk & Wardwell, and from 1983 to 1984 at Werbel & Macmillan, focusing on corporate law. In 1984, he transitioned to investment banking, joining Dillon, Reed & Company in New York City, where he specialized in financing, merchant banking, and mergers and acquisitions, rising to the position of vice president by 1990. In 1990, Powell entered public service when Nicholas F. Brady, former chairman of Dillon, Reed & Company and then U.S. Treasury Secretary, recruited him to the U.S. Department of the Treasury. Powell served as Assistant Secretary and later Under Secretary of the Treasury for Domestic Finance under President George H.W. Bush from 1990 to 1993. In this role, he oversaw policies on financial institutions and the Treasury debt market and led the investigation into Salomon Brothers for manipulating the Treasury bond market, resulting in a $290 million fine. After the Bush administration, Powell returned to the private sector. From 1993 to 1995, he served as a managing director at Bankers Trust but left after the bank faced reputational damage from derivative-related losses. He rejoined Dillon, Reed & Company briefly before becoming a partner at the Carlyle Group in 1997, where he led the industrial group within the U.S. buyout fund until 2005. In 2005, Powell founded Severn Capital Partners, a private investment firm focused on specialty finance and industrial investments. In 2008, he joined the Global Environment Fund, a private equity firm investing in sustainable energy. Public Service and Federal Reserve. From 2010 to 2012, Powell was a visiting scholar at the Bipartisan Policy Center in Washington, D.C., where he focused on federal and state fiscal issues, notably advocating for raising the U.S. debt ceiling during the 2011 debt ceiling crisis, earning a symbolic $1 annual salary. His work impressed President Barack Obama, who nominated him to the Federal Reserve Board of Governors in December 2011. Powell took office on May 25, 2012, filling an unexpired term, and was reappointed in 2014 for a term ending January 31, 2028. In November 2017, President Donald Trump nominated Powell as chair of the Federal Reserve, succeeding Janet Yellen. Confirmed by the Senate in January 2018, he assumed the role on February 5, 2018. Powell was renominated by President Joe Biden in November 2021 and confirmed for a second term in May 2022, set to expire in May 2026. As chair, Powell also serves as chairman of the Federal Open Market Committee (FOMC), the Fed's primary monetary policymaking body. Federal Reserve tenure. Powell's tenure as Fed chair has been marked by significant economic challenges. In 2020, he navigated the U.S. economy through the COVID-19 pandemic, implementing emergency measures such as slashing interest rates, initiating large-scale asset purchases, and introducing loan programs under the Dodd-Frank Act. These actions stabilized financial markets but drew criticism for potentially fueling asset price inflation, including in cryptocurrencies and housing. In December 2020, Powell defended high asset prices using the Fed model, a stance criticized by some economists as risking a financial bubble. Facing high inflation in 2021-2022, Powell initially described it as transitory, but later retired the term, accelerating the tapering of asset purchases and raising interest rates starting in March 2022. His policies have aimed to balance the Fed's dual mandate of stable prices and maximum employment, though he faced criticism from some Democrats, including Senator Elizabeth Warren, for his approach to financial regulation and climate risk. In 2024-2025, Powell's relationship with President Donald Trump was contentious, with Trump criticizing the Fed's inflation management and suggesting Powell's removal, though Powell emphasized the Fed's independence. Personal life. Powell married Alyssa Leonard in 1985 at the Episcopal Washington National Cathedral, and they have 3 children. They reside in Chevy Chase, Maryland, owning a home valued at $5.6 million and a vacation home in Chester, Vermont, worth $1.7 million. Powell, a registered Republican, is notably the first Fed chair in over 40 years without a PhD in economics, relying instead on his extensive experience in law and finance. He is an avid cyclist, often biking to work, and a self-described deadhead, a fan of the rock band The Grateful Dead. His net worth, estimated between $20 million and $55 million as of 2019, stems largely from his investment banking career and assets.